Hey, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. For those that have been following me for a while, you know I always tell you to agree with Christ, to be Christ-centered. And I'm very plain that following Christ is not easy in this world. It's not because following Christ in itself is difficult, but the world makes it easy on you because the world's going to retaliate against you. I've said that, but I also said that you have to be of good cheer because Christ commanded you to be of good cheer. And when you are of good cheer, you'll see how debased worldly people are, and they're becoming worse and worse every day. It goes like this. As a human being, there are two directions you can go in. The one direction is the direction of reprobation. The other direction is the direction of salvation. You're always heading in one of the two. Once you're saved, so you can't be unsaved. The only thing the enemy can do is to keep you in his self-destruction as long as possible, to prevent you from walking by faith. Once you're saved, you're saved. But if someone is not born again, that means if they're not saved, that they're heading towards reprobation. And not everyone becomes a reprobate at the same age. Some turn reprobates when they're 20, and a few earlier. Some turn reprobates when they're 40. However, reprobation is the direction you're heading in unless you're born again. And it's when you're walking by faith, it's when you're walking in the power of the Holy Spirit, you'll realize, come on now, I really don't want to spend too much time with these people. Because reprobates, not all unbelievers are reprobates yet. They'll either become born again and then they've become saints, or they remain unsaved, they keep holding on to their own self-validation, and they turn into reprobates and they end up in the lake of fire. It's one of the two. Reprobates, because that's what unbelievers are turning into unless they're saved. Reprobates will complain and complain and complain day and night, but they will never, ever stand up and do what's necessary to bring a positive change. No, reprobates want you to bring the positive change. They want you to behave yourself. They want you to get your act together. They want you to know how they're feeling. They want you to consider their emotions. Because for the reprobates, it's all about them. It's all about their will, their validation, how they feel. They always have their reasons. But you better be able to explain yourself, or else you're in danger. That's how reprobates are. And reprobates know very well that they're out of line. They know very well that things can go the way they are. But they always have some excuse or reason for not examining their own expectations. They never want to examine themselves. And when they commit violence, when they act out, when they get out of line, and it's obvious they're out of line, they will flee. They'll either flee by accusing you, dumping all on you, or they'll flee by literally moving away from you. Owning up what they've done? Never. Now you have people who have difficulty admitting they're wrong. Not because they're narcissists, but because they need to learn that just because you're wrong doesn't mean you're less worth as a human being. But that's different from a reprobate. A reprobate isn't as someone who has a confidence issue. A reprobate is someone who doesn't care what's right or wrong. They're not even into reality. They're only into themselves. So they don't have any interest. They're not interested in anything. They're into themselves. So when they say they're interested, it's only because it relates to them. When they're not interested, because it doesn't relate to them. The reprobate does nothing unless it benefits their self-validation. And what the reprobate wants may not even be healthy or good for them in the long run, but they do chase things just to preserve their self-validation. To the reprobate, it's all about their self-validation. It's self-validation at all costs. Me, myself, and I. That's the phrase of a reprobate. Me, myself, and I. On the short term, such folks may be pleasurable to be around. If you're at a party or you're watching a football match together, you can have a fun time with them. But in the long run, when you have to walk with them in daily life, they get frustrating, and they become upset because their thinking doesn't add up. So of course when your thinking doesn't add up, you get frustrated that things go wrong. But when things go wrong, they just want to dump and run. Dump negative energy on someone by blaming someone and taking it out on them, and then run. And you better not go after them and hold them account, or else they'll come after you. But at the same time, reprobates always see themselves as the victim. Now you have people who need deliverance. They need to process things, need to heal, and that's why they can't admit they're wrong, and that's why they are running from stuff. That's different. You have people that need help. But then you have people you need to be delivered from because they're the danger. You have people that carry danger and they need to be delivered. And then you have people who are the danger and you need to be delivered from them. Reprobates are the second category. I'm telling you, you cannot be at peace with a reprobate. It will never happen. You'll never be at peace. Never with a reprobate. Don't even try this experiment. Please spare your safety. Don't even try this. Now, I'm not here to say he's a reprobate, she's a reprobate, he's not a reprobate. Sometimes you recognize reprobates instantly because it's so obvious. But often you don't recognize the reprobates because they wear a mask. And they do it so well that even born-again believers who walk by faith sometimes may be tricked for a while. I said for a while because if you have the Holy Spirit, eventually you see through the deception. But don't be mistaken, reprobates are very dangerous. Even the pagan governments of this world don't want to deal with reprobates. They don't. But they realize they need the reprobates in order to have their pagan rule of the world. But they really can't stand reprobates. And common people in general tends to enable reprobates because they want to be relieved. Not all worldly people are reprobates yet. But you have quite some of them who have already turned into reprobates. And reprobates, I'm telling you, you can't walk with them. And common people in general tend to either excuse or ignore reprobates because they want to be left alone. And with that, they enable more reprobation in the population and more danger. That's what worldly people are in general. So as a believer, once you're walking by faith, you're overcoming and overruling. In the beginning, it will be painful when you have all people turning against you, they become hostile towards you and all. In the beginning, it will hurt. I will admit that. But after a while, you realize, you know what? I'm glad they walked away. I'm glad they left me because now I don't have to cast them out. Because reprobates, those human reprobates, tend to be worse than evil spirits. Evil spirits, when you cast them out in the name of Christ in confidence, they know they have to go. But the reprobate humans, they are so self-destructive, they'll rather destroy themselves and everyone around them than to bow down to reality. I'm telling you, that's how those reprobates are. They're dangerous. Don't be afraid of them. Don't entertain them either. Only deal with them when it's really necessary. When it's not necessary, don't deal with them. Don't wrestle with them, because when you wrestle with pigs, you get dirty. In the natural, if there's a pig out there and you get to wrestle with it, you get dirt all around you. You may even get sicknesses from that pig. And some pigs, especially if you come out of the wild, can even kill you in their rage. So don't wrestle with pigs. In the natural, you don't do that. Don't do it spiritually either. When you are dealing with a reprobate, it's the same as dealing with a filthy swine. You'll get dirty, you'll get diseases, you may even die before your time. You know you're inviting danger, so you're not leaving them alone because they have no right to be left alone, being in the negative, but you shake their dust, that means their danger off of your feet. So their dangers are moved from your path and you continue in faith. That's what you do. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.